All wireless Ethernet bridges are not created equal. Some, like the one illustrated here, do not contain an Ethernet switch. Notice that it has just one Ethernet connector, whereas other types containing Ethernet switches will have 4 or more Ethernet connectors. When you see one like this that has just one Ethernet connector, you have to be careful and evaluate the promotional literature that comes with it, because some of them have been purposely crippled so that they cannot be expanded. Most are of general purpose design. With those, you can connect an external Ethernet switch just as you would expect, expanding it exactly as if it were some kind of an Ethernet hub, using the same principles that are documented elsewhere here at AskMisterWizard.com with regard to Ethernet hubs and Ethernet switches. However, there are some of these devices that have been purposely crippled, probably by the marketing organizations within their own manufacturers, so that they cannot be expanded. Those are generally marketed as wireless game adapters. The intention is that they would be used with an Xbox 360 or Sony PlayStation, so that you could take their wired Ethernet connections and make them work with Wi-Fi. Don't buy one of those thinking you can expand it for general purpose use on your network. However, you can use one of those game port adapter devices with a laptop computer or a single computer. As long as you're just connecting one device to it, it's going to work. They may be designed for gaming console devices, but I've used them with laptop computers, and I've also used them with a little computer that I sit next to my big entertainment TV set. They work fine as long as you're just going to do one computer or one device. For our purposes in this video clip and in subsequent video clips about Ethernet switches, we don't really care whether your remote wireless Ethernet bridge has an internal switch or whether you've wired an external switch to it. We are going to assume that you got one of these general purpose devices and that it either has an internal switch, or, as shown here, you've wired an external switch to it, or some combination of hubs and switches, as described in other areas, as described in the Networking Fundamentals section here at AskMisterWizard.com, so that you can add as many computers and laptops, netbooks, printers, file servers, any kind of Ethernet equipment that you want to that remote Ethernet segment. And as you can see here, we're illustrating a couple of laptops going to a secondary switch. It just doesn't matter how you build up this architecture. It has exactly the same flexibility as any kind of wired Ethernet. All of the devices connected immediately to that wireless Ethernet bridge through or through its adjacent switch will enjoy good high bandwidth and good connectivity with one another. So you can be very effective at setting up high performance file servers, etc. However, when those same computers or those same services access the head node, the internet, or the network operations center equipment, that link is Wi-Fi, and of course it's going to be slower. So you need to think about the advantages and disadvantages of these wireless Ethernet bridges with respect to the performance of what you're trying to achieve.